Once upon a time, at Christmas, a long time ago, poor people could still be seen walking around on the streets. At that time, it wasn't shameful to be poor. So ragamuffins and lost souls didn't have to stay out of sight, but could walk around wherever they wanted. When the Christmas that this story is about was approaching, there was the usual activity, lots of baking and sausage making, dusting and polishing, rummaging and wrapping, and a vast increase in business that made the rich businessmen even richer and the poor customers even poorer. In one of the main post offices in the capital city stood Christopher Johnson sorting incoming packages. Christopher Johnson was 14 years old and went to school, but for the moment there he stood sorting packages. During the days just before Christmas, the post office hired school children to work all night, since the regular personnel went home at 5 o'clock. Now, perhaps you feel sorry for Christopher Johnson because he had to stand all night sorting incoming packages, but really, there is no reason to feel sorry for him at all. He came from a well-to-do family. His father owned a department store and got richer every day selling table mats and china ornaments. It was just that Christopher thought it was fun to earn a little money himself. While Christopher stood throwing packages labelled glass, handle with care, onto the stone floor of the fragile room, he thought of Robin Hood. Robin Hood was Christopher's idol. Heroism, comradeship, fat monks who fought with staffs in the fear of God for a just cause, healthy outdoor life, helping virtuous virgins across streams and rivers, and reverence for the legal king. Those were some of the things which seemed to Christopher Johnson to be the best life had to offer. And of course, the principle of lawless justice. Take from the rich and give to the poor. At 4 o'clock in the morning, with a sigh of relief, Christopher broke the last crystal vase wrapped up in cardboard against the concrete wall of the Royal Post Office and went home through the empty streets. His steps echoed against the walls of the houses. To take from the rich and give to the poor. Christmas was near. These unfortunate people for whom the Salvation Army's pots are kept boiling. Goodwill to all men. The Christmas candles are lit again. Who lights a candle for those who wander in the dark? Dancing around the Christmas tree, a time of joy. Cold shines the star of Christmas on those who have no home. To take from the rich and give to the poor. To take from the rich and give to the poor. It was then that Christopher Johnson made his decision. At 12:30 the next day, Christopher was wakened by his loving mother. He got up, ate his 2 fried eggs and sausage, sneaked into his father's library, swiped his directory of tax assessments, and left for the post office. He began to sort incoming packages with the repetitious monotony that such a job imposed upon anyone who did it. But his eye checked on the addressee of every package. It was particularly the title before the name that interested him. Titles like lathe turner, construction worker, nurse's aide, salesman, seamstress, titles like these he put on their respective piles of packages. But when he found a name with a title like director, he allowed the director's package to slip down into a special sack that he had beside him. That was also the place where packages ended up that were addressed to the likes of civil engineers, colonels' wives, bankers, mine owners, and real estate brokers. To take from the rich and give to the poor. By supper time, the sack by his side was well filled with packages. He stayed behind when the others went to have something to eat, and as soon as he was alone, he took out the Directory of Tax Assessments and started checking the packages in his special sack. Company Director H.K. Bergdahl, assessed for $65,000 per year. Bergdahl went back into the special sack. So did all the other packages whose addressees earn more than $50,000 per year. Even a package for his own father from Aunt Martha ended up in the special sack. No favoritism, equality for everyone. Now the sack was full to the top. He tied up the sack, fastened one of the post office address labels to the string, wrote his own name and address on the card, and put the sack out with the big pile of sacks which were to be delivered the next day. The next day was Christmas Eve. Christopher was wakened at 12 o'clock by his loving mother, who stood beside the bed with tinsel in her hair and a tray with coffee and ginger biscuits in her hand and said, "Christopher, there's a big sack full of parcels for you." They're the ones I've got to sort out. There's a lot to do. Poor Christopher. Surely they don't expect you to work on Christmas Eve. "One has to do one's duty in life, you see, Mother," said Christopher. "A job well done gives inner satisfaction and is the foundation upon which society is built." Christopher's loving mother looked at her boy, moved and proud. "My dear little boy."